Hey guys, RageKage here, bringing you a beginner's guide to one of my favorite mid-heroes, none other than the Templar Assassin. So, before we get started here, let's just take a look. Let me put myself in player's perspective. And just, I guess, as a pre-statement before I start this video, this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm trying to shorten my videos a little bit. I know a lot of you guys like seeing the full gameplays. I can absolutely keep doing those in the future. But I'm going to try to condense this and just have kind of a mashup of the most important moments of the game. I'll still probably show the first 8-9 minutes of the laning phase and just how you want to win your lane against a specific matchup. But when we get into like mid-game, late-game scenarios, I'll probably just focus on core team fights instead of like farming efficiency and stuff like that, because, well, TA also just kind of works that way. You want to be getting in as many fights as possible. So let's start out with TA. So what is TA? So TA is a agility carry. 99% of the time it's played in the middle lane. She's got a great, really good stat gain overall. Intelligence is decent at 2, strength is pretty good at 2.1, and then her agi gain is great at 2.7. So she scales fairly well. She definitely falls off late game. That's kind of just due to the nature of some of her abilities. But let's just go ahead and talk about those abilities here real quick. So let me just pause this once I go back to my own view of TA. As I'm just watching this kind of little fight go down in the bot lane. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about TA a little bit. So starting off, she's got a great base attack. Obviously, that's bumped up on my Wraith band. I'll talk about that in just a second here. But pretty good starting attack, so last hitting is quite easy. Decent stats across the board. So let's just jump right into her abilities. So TA's got a very interesting kit of abilities. Probably the most important being her 3 primary skills. Her ultimate is very good, but it's less impactful than a lot of other ultimates. It just kind of helps her chase. So looking at the first ability is called Refraction. So basically what Refraction does, you pop Refraction, it basically gives you a buff to TA, and it gives you bonus damage and also bonus defense, basically, in the form of instances. So basically, at level 1, when you pop this, you get 3 instances, and then it maxes out at 6 instances at level 4. But you can also get a talent that I'll talk about later that also increases these number of instances. In my opinion, is probably the best perk or best talent for TA. So what does it really do? So it gives you these instances. What these instances do is, first off, give you bonus damage to your right clicks. So as you can see here, it's starting off with 3 instances with 20 increased bonus damage. So basically every time I right click, I'm going to have a plus 20 onto my base attack number. And then that's going to go up to obviously 80. So you really want to max Refraction first, because 80 bonus damage, if you max this ability first, is just fantastic. Like, it really lets you get in there and blow people up. How the defensive instances work is basically any time you take a point of damage, it's going to remove one of those Refraction instances. I think the only things that don't remove Refraction instances, if it's damage below 5, I'm pretty sure. So like an Orb of Venom, for instance, isn't going to tick down your charges. But talking about the big counters to TA in general, basically heroes that counter TA counter Refraction. So basically what you don't want to pick TA into is a damage over time hero. So Viper is the best example of this. Viper is the hardest counter to TA in the mid lane. Having his Venom take you down, it basically just burns through your Refraction incredibly quickly, just from his passive and active like auto attacks, and also from his ultimate. His ultimate totally wrecks TA's Refraction instances. And you want to keep those instances up, because it will literally block any type of damage. It can be a 500 damage, pure damage nuke. Refraction's going to block that, right? And it cannot be dispelled. So the other component that's very interesting to note about Refraction is the duration. So as you can see, the duration is 17 seconds. So the minute you tick on your Refraction, you've got those charges for 17 seconds, given that you don't use them. So if I walk into lane and I auto attack 3 creeps, then obviously my offensive Refraction is going to be gone, but my defensive will still maintain for 17 seconds. So the two are mutually exclusive from one another, defense and offense. But the important thing, like I said, is the duration. So 17-second duration, 17-second cooldown. So basically what that means is, theoretically, if you're not, performing attacks or not taking damage, you can have refraction up, have 100% uptime on refraction. So it's typically best to pop refraction before you get into a fight, so you can refresh your refraction mid-fight, and you'll see that later. It costs 100 mana, so pretty high mana cost, so you want to be tread switching to intelligence when you cast refraction. I think that's enough about refraction. Refraction is kind of the most complex ability in her set. So the next one is meld. So basically what meld does is it's once again another bonus to your attack damage. So basically if I click meld, you're gonna see TA crouch down and go invisible. So she does go invisible. So you can kind of outplay people with that. But my next attack out of meld is going to give me bonus damage and armor reduction. And that armor reduction is going to last on that opponent that I right click for 10 seconds. The bonus damage starts at 50, goes up to 200, and the armor reduction starts at 2, goes up to 8. So pretty good scaling there. But you typically want to max meld last, only because your third ability is really helpful in lane and team fight scenarios, but I'll talk about that in a second. 6-second cooldown, so really, really fast. You can pop multiple melds at a time. That also means you can have that minus armor debuff on multiple enemies if you're able to get a meld strike off on different enemies. But really tricky ability to land. You'll definitely see me miss it a few times. I think everybody's missed a lot of meld strikes in their day, to be quite honest. But really good for just additional burst. You know, Tia is all about physical damage and physical and armor reduction. So her last ability is also really interesting, Psyblades. So how Psyblades work is basically, for one, it increases your attack range. TA at level 1 with no Psyblades basically has the range of a melee hero. So Psyblades is going to allow you to increase your range, so become more of a ranged hero. And at the same time, you're basically going to get, it's kind of like a cleave where if you attack the first unit and there's a unit behind it, your attack is basically going to transfer through that unit and also hit what's behind us. And you can see the split range starting at 590 to 710. So that's kind of the distance you have to work with of hitting those Psyblade attacks. And also, the damage that you deal is pure damage. So you'll see in team fights, and I'm going to have a bonus clip at the end of this video of one where your meld can just wreck somebody. If you're auto-attacking a low armor target and they've got somebody tankier behind them, you're still going to shred through them because you're going to deal that damage that you do to that first target as pure damage to the person behind them. So, moving on. Trap, this is just the active of your ultimate. Basically, your ultimate is Psionic Trap. So you can put down this little purple trap. It does give you vision in an area, very small amount of vision, but really helpful when looking at runes. And I'll just actually start the gameplay because I don't have too much else to talk about here. But you basically put it down. If an enemy walks over it, you can activate it with that secondary ability here, and it'll basically slow them for a period of time. The longer the trap sits there, the more the slow will be once you often hit it. So if you just put a trap and hit it immediately, the slow is going to be less than if you kind of preemptively put a trap down and then they run over it a few seconds later, and then you slow them. But pretty short cooldown. The cooldown goes down to 5 at max level, but typically trap it's good. You can definitely chase really well, and of course, guys, now that I'm getting into laning, make sure you get that range creep going first so you have the wave in your favor. But so yeah, Psionic Trap is a good ability, but it's not, you don't really see the impact as much. It's just really good for chasing down enemy heroes. So real quick, before we get into this laning against Raven, the Storm Spirit, I'll just talk about the talents really quickly. Level 10, you've got plus 20 move speed, plus 25 attack speed. I typically pick the attack speed. I think it just helps with the DPS, and your movement, I always go Blink Dagger on TA anyways, so I don't think movement is too big of an issue. Level 15, you can make an argument either way for 12% evasion or plus 6 stats, but TA gets relatively squishy, especially when she doesn't have a refraction up, so I just like to get the stats all around. Helps a little bit of intelligence, tiny bit of damage, but also just that little bit of HP goes a long way. 40 damage versus 275 health. This is a tough one to pick. I almost always go 40 damage because you just want to blow them up. That's basically having a secondary damage item. So 275 health can be good, but typically the way you play TA is you just want to burst people as quickly as possible. So health can be good in some situations, but typically I like to opt for damage. And then the level 25, you can either give yourself 3 more refraction instances, so by the time you get to 25, obviously refraction is maxed out, so you're going to have a total of 9 instances. That's 9 instances of damage that you can block off and 9 really buffed up auto attacks, so really, really good. 30 respawn time can be really good in super late game scenario. Like if you're playing from behind, maybe that's a better talent to pick up. I typically like to pick refraction instances. So starting item build, I go Wraithband Tangos. Overall, pretty good. Wraithband just gives you great base stats for an agility hero, so helps me last hitting. I can basically have way better attack than the Storm. And you'll see I'm going to pull ahead of him in the last hits and denies really, really quickly here. And then tangos, you know, what can you say about tangos? They're just really good for regening up in the lane. So let's talk about this lane a little bit. I picked TA into this Storm. So he picked Storm first, I picked TA. I think TA counters Storm a fair bit. You really have a huge last hitting bonus over Storm with your refraction, and you're going to see I just absolutely demolish this guy in last hit. So I think it's a really favorable matchup for TA. I think most lanes are really favorable against TA. Lanes that are bad for TA are things like Ember Spirit, you know, that Flame Guard can shoot through your refraction. Viper, like I said. And another really favorable matchup is versus Shadow Fiend. So you can really dominate a Shadow Fiend. He starts with such low base attack. Obviously, his raises only count as one instance, so you can refraction off a lot of those raises and just get a really quick CS lead. And your damage, you will match an SF in damage with maxing refraction 100%. So if I look at this lane, what I'm trying to do, obviously it's the beginning of the game, I just want to deny as much as possible, get as many last hits as possible, and be kind of conservative with my refraction. I took an early trade against Storm because I knew I'd have my bottle pretty quickly. I've got tangos to regen up, so I'm not too worried about that. And I can trade really well with the Storm. You're going to see me trading it with him often. One thing you really just have to be careful of with early trades is being in the creep wave. Like, this creep is hitting me right now in the backline, and that was really unfortunate. He's going to burn 2 of my refraction charges almost instantaneously. It's really difficult to fight in the creep wave as TA. You got to be really wise about your refraction usage. But as you can see in terms of the last hits here, I'm sitting at 11 last hits, 6 denies. Storm's sitting at 4 last hits, 0 denies. You can just dominate with these. Another really important thing to note that you want to do as much as possible is you want to trade with side blades. So that basically allows you to trade free trades as long as you position yourself so that your side blade is going to hit the Storm. You're going to see I try to hit it up here. Boom, I hit Storm with a side blade. I always want to do that as my buddy Jables comes here. Shout out to Jables, 2 Kings Gaming. Comes in for the gank, but he's an Omni Knight, so we can't really do anything against the Storm. Pick up a sub 3-minute bottle. It's typically where you want to be. And just kind of bully the Storm out of lane. The side blades, the damage stacks up so much. I swear to God, pure damage, like, you can absolutely shred. I've gotten so many side blade kills alone just from, like, they're not respecting the damage that it provides. Of course, when the runes pop, always try to grab it. I go boots here next. Typically, you want to go, I like to go bottle, then boots, then Aquila. I think Aquila just gives you even more, like, mana regen is really important on TA. Because her abilities have, especially refraction, have a pretty high amount of mana that they use in terms of her intelligence gain and her general mana pool. As you can see, I'm only sitting at 400, so that's 4 refractions before I'm totally out of mana. So once again, just fighting the Storm Spirit, but prioritizing last hits. And every time you can get a deny or something, it's great to try to get those side blades off. Another really important thing that I want to mention here is that when you pop refraction, your offensive refraction ticks do not decrease if you deny a creep with them. So you're going to see me just over the course of this interaction against the Storm. I'm going to pop refraction in order to get those easy denies off. And I'm going to, basically, I won't burn any charges by denying my own creeps. It only, you only lose offensive charges if you are, if you're attacking an enemy, creep, hero, jungle camp, etc. So feel free to use that as denying. It can really, you know, it really frustrates some players. I'm going to go on this trade with Storm here. I know I've got a regen, so I'm happy to trade as much as possible, and he's not backing off, so I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to pop my regen just in the nick of time. Popping my regen in between his autos basically secured that kill for me. So let's back this up just a little bit, and I can explain what happens here. Okay, so I'm happy to trade, right? I've got a regen, so I'm going to beat him in the regen war. So I'm coming in. He doesn't back off. I decide, okay, I'll fight with you. I've got most of my refractions up. Still got my offensive refractions. Luckily, I didn't get an uphill miss. So, right when I'm getting lower, he hits me with a remnant. Okay? He's going to auto-attack me here, and I'm going to pop my regen. So, if you guys didn't know this, regen is not canceled by creeps. So right after he autos me, I'm going to have that regen ticking in while, as long as he doesn't do damage to me. So I pop the regen, he pops another remnant, I'm able to get that kill, and because I was regenning up, I live with what? I live with 11 Make that, yeah, 11 HP, and then I'll just bottle up and get back into lane. So, pretty easy outplay of the Storm there with the regen. Obviously, you know, I don't get as much value out of the regen as possible, but I haven't used my Shrine yet. I'll drop the Wraith Band, you know, just taking those stats off you so you get more regen from the Shrine there. And yeah, now I'm really crushing the Storm in the lane. He's only got 8 last hits to my 24 and 12 denies. I've gotten first blood on him. Things are looking perfect. Like, Storm is quite easy to bully out of lane as a TA, just because that refraction, you can block his remnants, you can block his powered up autos, his overcharge auto attacks, and you can just really win a 1v1 against Storm, basically, even though those enemy creeps, I was kind of in his creep wave. I was able to pop that regen and just eke it out. So, you know, little outplays like that. That's what you want to do. And, you know, pulling the aggro back, right? So every time the aggro, like, he is a very short range hero. In order to maximize your last hits, it's great to, like, walk into the wave. You don't even have to auto attack the enemy hero, but just, like, click on them, right click on them, and then you'll pull the creep aggro. You can pull them back to your range creep. Just put the wave in a little bit beneficial place. I don't want to really be hitting uphill against that Storm, basically. I want the creeps on my side. So I'm going to start building my treads here. So, you know, other items that you want to look to get early game with TA is basically, I always go Aquila, Bottle, Treads. Just gives you great early fighting potential. You can get those tread switches off for your refraction charges. Just puts you in a really good spot. And as you can see, I'm just continuously denying. He can't really even harass me. I'll smack him a few times, get him out of lane, and then just make sure I don't miss any last hits. And then once again, man, this side blade's just absolutely tearing him a new one. So after Treads Aquila, it probably would have been good if I actually picked up a Raindrops here, just so that extra damage reduction for the magic nukes. Obviously, Storm's a huge magic nuker, so you can burn off. You know, you can mitigate a lot of that damage with Raindrops. But I was feeling pretty good. I didn't really want to waste money on Raindrops. Not that it's ever a bad thing. Centaur comes up. I totally miss a Meld Strike, but he's not really going to be able to catch me as I'm full HP, and I'll just bottle up here. So, moving on from, like, Treads Aquila Bottle. It's kind of a toss-up if you go Blink or you go Desolator first. So Blink gives you the ability just to jump on somebody, hit them with an immediate Meld Strike. It's really good for positioning in fights. Desolator just kind of works off of TA's kit so well. It gives her a lot of bonus damage, adds more minus armor. If you hit somebody with, like, -7 Desolator and you've got Meld maxed at 8, hitting someone -15 armor on any support, you'll basically two-shot them, especially with the bonus damage from refraction. It's just basically like the core items on TA. You can go like Dragonlance Hurricane Pike to upgrade her, make her a little more tanky, and give her that nice mobility that Hurricane Pike allows for, but I don't think that's core by any means. And, you know, if you're just snowballing out of control, it's better just to get Desolator Blink. I actually choose to get Desolator first in this game. It's basically because I had a really good start, and I was like, man, Blink's really good, but if I just get Desolator, like, I'm not too worried about their lineup jumping on me. And if Storm does jump on me, I can pretty much just blow him up. So the 8-minute mark comes around. I've got 45, 46 last hits here. Storm is in a really bad position. I've basically won this lane pretty handily. So I'm going to look for Rune. I see a haste, so I'm going to make a rotation with this and just help out some of my other lanes and get us ahead. So Phoenix is in the area, so we decide we're going to go dive top lane. So I'm going to get in the area. I'm not going to pop the haste yet. I'm going to save it until I really need it. Pick up a little bounty rune here, and then just communicate with the teammate on top lane to kind of force a fight here, because I'm just going to come in through the jungle. Wait my timeout until they overextend. See Monkey King overextend. So now I'm going to go pop haste, pop refraction, premeditatively, jump in, hit them with a Meld Strike, finish MK off, and then, yeah, that's a 4v2, so they're going to lose that every single time. Stick in Agi Treads mode just for that little bit of extra damage and attack speed that 10, I think it's 10 stats now. Yeah, I back up to 10 from 9, so this really helps in Storm. Yeah, he just zips away. He really can't do anything to me in lane. And now I'm sitting at 3-0 with 47 last hits at the 9-minute mark. This is pretty much exactly where you want to be with TA, and this is basically the point in time where, like, I'm just going to get Deso and keep working these kids over. So, you know, that kind of explains the early laning phase that you want to play with TA. Pretty passive. You can also run back into the jungle. If you've got a support stacking for you, TA clears Ancients really quickly. So you can absolutely get some jungle camps in if you're having a rough lane. Like, if you are going up against a Viper or something, you can definitely come back jungle a bit. but because this Storm's a really easy matchup for me, I'm just going to keep pushing my wave and then look elsewhere on the map to do other things. And as you can see, I've got Deso queued up. And the early Blightstone's really good too, just more armor reduction. So I'm going to fast forward, I think, into some of like the early game, mid game fights once I've got Deso, and we can pick up the video from there. But I think that pretty much explains how you want to play this early laning phase as TA. Murder them on last hits. Go for the good trades with side blades. If you see a kill opportunity, go for it. Oh, Bounty thinks he can flex on me, but he can't do anything with me having refraction up. So I'll just walk away because we don't have detection. And then yeah, if you get a party rune, you know, go for that gank. Perfect opportunity to get a haste and look top. I mean, really easy. I don't really lose anything from lane. Pick up that haste rune, get a double kill for my team. So that's great. So I'll fast forward here into another. All right, guys, we're back. So I'm rotating top here for another fight. I pretty much just ran there. They were diving top with 3 heroes, so I figured pretty confident that I could come and get this. Able to pick off Centaur quite easily, and then just prioritizing the Monkey King. We don't want him getting his ult out. So Morphling does come in. I'll just start chomping him down, but now I'm alone and Storm rotates in, so I need to get the hell out of here. So this is what you can basically do with Meld. I pop Refraction. Meld strike so they don't see me. I wasn't, Bounty Hunter is level 5. I think that's a really important thing to say. If Bounty was level 6 and he's able to track me, this is not a safe play, but figuring that they don't have detection, I can just Meld here, wait out the rotation basically, and then just walk away. So sometimes you can really outplay with Meld if the enemy doesn't have detection. So as we can see with the hero level here, Bounty is only 5, so I don't have to worry about that. This is a totally safe play. They don't really know my position, so Storm can't just like stack remnants. And with Meld, you know, another component that's pretty important to note is that you can basically, what I like to do is if I know they don't have detection, even if they know where I am melded, you can meld up and then wait for your refraction to come off cooldown. So I popped refraction, went into meld. I can wait this 10 seconds. You can stay invisible for basically forever. There's very few things that can get you out of the meld invis. But I can basically wait this out, wait for my refraction, and then if you want to turn a fight with some rotations from your team, you pop refraction before you come out of meld, and then you start fighting again. So just kind of a way that you can use meld. I just wait it out, make sure that I'm completely safe, and then I'll work my way back towards the mid lane here. Okay guys, back at it again before a fight. So I pick up an arcane rune here. I'm closing really rapidly into my Desolator, and you know, at some point you might want to just like back off, farm the jungle until you get your Deso, but I picked up this arcane rune, so I'm actually looking to fight here. So I'm going to force kind of a fight mid, or at least force some rotations by aggressively pushing the tower. But having this arcane rune, you can get like, it reduces the cooldown on refraction and meld so much that it's actually really favorable to take a fight. Arcane rune, you know, obviously double damage is probably the best one you can get on TA and haste, but I think arcane rune is a very close kind of tied for second place in terms of the party rune. So I'm going to force this fight here. I know I've got Arcane, the buff active, so my cooldown is way, way lower, and it also helps a lot with my mana cost. So I'm going to put a trap just to see if I get ganked. Storm's going to jump on me. I'm going to meld, okay? There's rotations coming in, but I'm pretty confident I can still fight this. So I'm actually just going to open up on the Storm here. Hit him with a quick meld, pop Storm, and then Bounty is not going anywhere. He really thinks he can take me, but I'm happy to stand and fight there. No other rotations. Everybody else on the map is accounted for. You don't have to worry about anything else. I can easily 2v1 them in this scenario. Bounty comes back in, and I don't know really what he was thinking, but I hit him with another one. That's an easy double. Centaur. Oh, this Centaur had a rough one, man. Misses the stomp, hits me with the double edge, but I've got refraction on, so he just does nothing but damage himself there, and I'll go back to keep on farming. So, you know, you can fight really early, especially if you're ahead with TA, man. It's really, really easy. If they don't carry detection, like, you are such a liability for them in fights. And yeah, and then I'll just go back, jungle my way back to base here. Alright, guys, we're back. Pushing down the mid lane. Got the Deso picked up. Very close to my Blink Dagger. And I'm feeling really strong, man. Once you've got Deso, like, God, do you hit hard. I'm just going to be able to, like, burst down this tower so fast. Like, they made a rotate. The enemy team, Radiant, made a rotation bottom, and actually Storm got a double kill, so he's kind of catching up a little bit in net worth. But I'm super far ahead. I'm just going to put pressure on this tower. You know, MK is going to come in here. I'm just going to stick around and see if I can get a pick. Get tracked up by the okay. Centaur comes in and stomps me. He's not really doing anything. I got Omni coming back in for support. Unfortunately, dude, I missed that uphill. God, and Bounty goes invis, but we're still content to push here. Knowing I've got Omni Knight, now Sven backing me up, it's absolutely no problem. I can murder these waves very, very quickly. And Quiste Resistance, get a double damage rune, so we definitely want to force a fight with me having Deso double damage, and now my Blink Daggers on the courier coming to me. So Morphling trying to do his best. Morphling was actually quite a good player this game, very difficult to kill. Morphling's a pretty decent counter to PA, because he can just morph up and you just can't burst him fast enough unless you get a cheeky silence off, of which we've got none on our team. So Morphling's actually a pretty good TA counter, and he actually gives me the most trouble in this game. But everybody else, like Bounty Hunter, Monkey King, Storm Spirit, they are my high targets. I can burst them so quick. And I pop my DD because we want this mid tower. Okay, Bounty shows himself, so I'm going to go start hitting this thing. I kill it in about 4 shots here. Blink aggressively on the Bounty, right? I knew he was up there because I got the track from him. So I'm going to walk in, Blink Phoenix. The other team does a great rotation, so they come in here. I get stomped up, but at this point you can really only fight. Sideblade's doing work, so much lockdown. Fortunately, I go down here. So first death of the game, the Ancients pick up the Monkey King. But if we just look at this, I mean, the problem with this fight was, and I'll play it in slow-mo, so I blinked aggressively to chase the Bounty, right? So we're chasing Bounty. Pretty confident that we can absolutely murder him. I hit a nice meld strike off. Almost one-shot him with having Desolator now. The team, great Monkey King stun right into Centaur. Fantastic chain stun from them. They're able to burst Phoenix immediately. Now Storm comes. I mean, I've been chain stunned for quite a while, but you can really only fight with BD. Honestly, I thought that I could turn this. Kill Centaur very quickly. Almost get the Monkey King, man. So low, but he will die to the Ancients anyhow as the last Ancient Dragon shot comes off on him. And, you know, TA gotta play for the risk sometimes, and just unfortunately wasn't able to pick up that last kill. Maybe could have switched to Strength Treads mid that fight and been able to live, but hey, it's alright, guys. We are back. Got a regen bottle, working on my BKB. It's pretty much the safe option to go after you get Blink and Deso. Just lets you not be able to be locked down. I mean, you can kill Roshan incredibly fast. And of course, they were pushing mid, so we're absolutely going to force this fight. I'm going to blink in kind of on the back lines. I really wanted to catch Storm, but he is able to Centaur ult and run away. And yeah, they're in a really bad position now, so we're just going to hunt these guys down here. Still, team not carrying dust. It's probably my bad, to be quite honest. Going on Bounty. Morphling, once again, really difficult for me to deal with. He's just way too tanky for me to burst. Really need like my Daedalus, and that's actually what I get after BKB. Bounty walks right back in. Give him the big smackdown. Not quite sure what he was thinking, but great ward by our team there, so we were really easily able to pick him up. And I mean, as TA, you just kind of want to jump on the back line. Positioning is really key to get as many side blade attacks as possible, and then every time you win a team fight with TA, you just like, she's the epitome of a snowball hero, so you just want to keep on taking objectives, taking objectives. And yeah, when you've got Aegis, you can basically initiate anything as long as your team's backing you up. You're really not afraid to die once, so just blink in, man. Try to go for the back line first, and you know, just start shredding people with side blades. Okay, guys, big fight coming up. So got my BKB fully completed now. Game's been going on about 4 minutes after that last game. I'm just gonna blink in here. They're pushing mid again, so I'm just gonna blink in BKB. They can't do anything to me, and now I've got this fantastic position here on the high ground, shredding people with side blades, absolutely murdering them. Storm's kind of hard to catch, but Morphling once again, tanky son of a bitch. We're gonna go, you know, carry on the chase. Like, as you can see, like me with BKB, like just very, very difficult for them to deal with me. Morphling once again, kind of a decent TA counter, I really must say. Kind of a decent TA counter, but if you look at what I do in this fight, so let me just go into free camera here and kind of scroll out here. So coming in, right? Enemy team is pushing. We know they're all in this area, right? So they're all grouped up here. I'm attacking from this angle. Friendly team is attacking from this angle, and I know I've got my Omni Knight backing me up very close. So I'm going to come in here. Going to come in here. As I see, just kind of waiting for the team to set up. Pop Refraction first, right? So I'm going to Refraction first and immediately jump in. Go on the Monkey King. He's like my #1 target. He has ultimate, so if I can kill him before Wukong's command comes out, that's great. So I chase him towards our shrine, right? The rest of my team is coming in. We've got an egg dropping in the back line. Sven blinks in aggressively. He's got God Strength and Stormhammer, so we're going to be able to absolutely murder these guys on this choke point. And positioning yourself around these choke points is really, really important because those side blades are just going to get maximum value out of them. So as this carries on, right, now I'm sitting on high ground. Okay, get a nice stun off, and this is like a TA's wet dream, to be quite honest. I'm going to sit on this high ground. I'm going to start shredding into these guys with side blades, and yeah, you're going to see Bounty like almost just gets murdered. Side blades, going on the storm. Fortunately, he's able to zip out. Morphling thinks he can fight us, realizes he's in a really bad position right now. And yeah, it's basically how you want to position yourself, set up for the side. We're just going to go in here and push high ground. No Aegis, but my BKB is coming off. Right, my BKB is coming off cooldown, so we're just going to push this high ground in. I'm about to absolutely pop off. So blink very aggressively, right? Kill the tower, don't have to worry about that. Happy to fight in Wukong's command. I get a nice repel from Omni here. Eating away at Monkey King, want to kill him as quickly as possible so that Wukong's command is no. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Their team gets sectioned off, so I just blink into the back line. Murder Storm, easy triple kill, and then just chase down Bounty for the Ultra. One more right click, flying off, and boom, that's an Ultra kill. So this is a play that I really like to do as TA, as I'll just show how this fight kicks off. So I really like, in like pushing high ground, you can actually catch a lot of their heroes off ground by just doing a really aggressive blink high ground. So you're gonna see me here. I walk up, pop refraction, bottle up, I'm good to go. Blink immediately, right? So I'm gonna go on Wukong. Able to get that mid tower. Great reinitiation for the Centaur, but he's only reinitiating on me, and I got BKB coming off cooldown, so I'm gonna burst down the Centaur so we don't have to worry about him anymore, and then immediately my direction is on the storm, is on the Monkey King, sorry. Get a nice repel from Omni, so I don't really have to worry about any lockdown on me. Just gotta kill Monkey King as quickly as possible. Right when repel wears off, my BKB comes back. Going on the Morphling, but decide, you know what, I can't really kill him, so I'm just gonna blink back aggressively into the back line. Go for Storm and the Bounty here. I mean, this is a really easy fight. If you can separate their team with TA and be kind of like man-fighting their carry and then like disengage because your damage output is just too high, they just really can't stand up to you, then you can just kind of run away with this. I think a really other important point that I want to make is that with Refraction, because you don't take damage while you've got Refraction up, it actually doesn't decrease your blink timer. So if I pop Refraction, somebody's smacking me around, like Monkey King smacking me around, as long as I've got those defensive Refraction charges up, I can actually blink away from that. So typically you can like pop Refraction, keep fighting, and then disengage or re-engage on a separate part of the fight if you need to. So just a really important point to note. You can also like Refraction meld, and then if they have a hard time detecting you and meld, you can blink out very easily. It's a really, really kind of simple escape mechanism. So that kind of wraps up the video here, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, from here on, you know, I'm sitting at 19 and 3, 150 last hits. The Morphling is actually quite close, but I mean, when you just start steamrolling and take good fights with TA, it's very difficult to come back. And having that Desolator, you have great push potential against enemy buildings, so you can really just roll away with the game. So I hope you guys liked that. Like this video, kind of like a shorter, more condensed on the specific actions of the game and how I go about fighting in those team fights in my early games. So please give me feedback on what you think of those videos. I'm probably going to release a Terrorblade video pretty soon because he's just such a ridiculously strong hero right now. If you guys watch the Kiev Major, you know how godly Terrorblade is right now. So probably release a video of that. I had a pretty decent game the other day. And yeah, guys, really all right, guys, as promised, here's a little bonus clip from the end of this game. Picked up my Daedalus, and you're about to see how much work a TA with Daedalus can do. So in this fight, going on Centaur, absolutely one-shot the Centaur, going on Monkey King, and then boom, hit the crit by Murder, absolutely in one shot, both Monkey King and Bounty. So just play that back again so you can see what happens here. Coming on in as the TA, got that Daedalus prepped and good to go. Going on Centaur, one-shot the Centaur, going in on Monkey King, hit him a few times, and then here comes the crit. One crit, and I'm die, man. Both go down, so easy little triple kill for me there, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little bonus clip.